Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Constant Contemplations. This is a Movie Monday. You know the drill. I go over a movie I watched and tell you whether or not you should watch it. If you want to listen to my humble opinion, that is. Today's movie, Red Notice, on Netflix. This movie has become quite the phenomenon. It has surpassed Bird Box to be the number one movie ever on Netflix watched. So it's definitely really popular. It cost a ton of money to make. I think around $200 million to make. It definitely, from what I've heard, it exchanged studio hands between Universal and Netflix. And now it's a big deal. It stars The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, a former favorite WWE wrestler of mine. Also, Gal Gadot, Ryan Reynolds. So, three very dynamic personalities all mashed into this movie. So, a brief synopsis of Red Notice. Okay, it's about an FBI agent that's hot on the trail of a infamous art thief, which is played by Ryan Reynolds. And the FBI agent eventually gets framed. And that's the premise. So he's trying to clear his name, and he ends up working with this world famous art thief. So here's what I liked about the movie. This movie was gorgeous. Okay, it was a feast for the eyes. That $200 million budget was well spent. Now, they are globetrotting in this movie. They are in various different locations, from Russia to Egypt to Rome, just so many different set pieces, and it looks good, really good. Now, a lot of this movie was filmed in Atlanta in a studio, so there is that element to it, but it doesn't look cheap or too sterile. It looks great. Yeah, movie's gorgeous. The costume design, outstanding. I mean, in the different settings that these characters find themselves in, they always look like they belong. The designs for all of their clothing, great, beautiful. The best part about this movie, though, is the comedy. Okay, I mean, it's Ryan Reynolds, so you already know he's going to bring all of these punchlines, all of these zingers, and his classic Ryan Reynolds sarcasm. So there's that, and then there's the dynamic between him and The Rock. The Rock, of course, a big stoic dude who's I'm trying to clear my name here, that kind of guy. And it works. It definitely works. Between The Rock and Ryan Reynolds' characters, they bounce off of each other in a very entertaining way. And not just entertaining in the sense of it was hilarious, but also the action in this movie was great as well. All of the fight scenes were, there wasn't any serious choreography that needed to be done. It was a lot of, punching and slamming and pushing going on, but it worked and it fit the characters. I definitely didn't see The Rock doing any complicated kung fu or anything like that. That's just not his style. So, yeah, absolutely love that. I mean, the movie is gorgeous. The costume designs, everybody looked suave. They had all these gorgeous vehicles in this movie. Yeah, great design and beautiful set pieces. I really like that about this movie. But what didn't I like? Well, The Rock is The Rock, and Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean that The Rock is our modern day Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? I think we can all kind of agree with that. He's our generation's Arnie. And just like Arnie, he just doesn't have a lot of range. The Rock is just always kind of the same character. And the same, unfortunately, has to be said about Ryan Reynolds as well. Ryan Reynolds' character is Ryan Reynolds. He's sarcastic. And while that is very entertaining and got laughs out of me, it's the same thing. Yeah, we kind of want to see more now out of Ryan Reynolds. I mean, The Rock. Come on, let's be real. We're probably not going to see a whole lot more from The Rock in terms of acting range. Even though he's done a few serious roles in the past, it's just not his style. It doesn't really make that big of an impact. So I'm not really expecting a whole lot more out of The Rock in terms of acting range and taking maybe a more serious role or a more unique role. I'm not expecting that much. But Ryan Reynolds, I feel like he has it in him. Just like Jim Carrey surprised us with these amazing roles that were not comedic, I feel like Ryan Reynolds has it in him. Now, I'm not I'm not a super Ryan Reynolds expert, so I don't know if he has taken those chances in his career, but I don't think he has. I don't recall him giving a role, trying something different in the casting choices that he makes. So I'm really hoping that Ryan Reynolds tries to evolve soon, because as charming as he is, these roles are kind of getting a little old. So there was that aspect to it. While he made me laugh, I do feel like we need more out of him. The story is pretty basic, not gonna lie. And again, I will not turn my nose up to just a regular popcorn blockbuster movie. I will not. I do enjoy them, but this story is one you've seen before, definitely. From the premise, from the personalities that are involved in the movie, to the villains of this movie, all of that is nothing new. We've seen it before. And especially in the third part of this movie, the finale, which is infamously hard to get right in movies, and this movie is no different. It was really hard to wrap it up in a clean way. It was a bit rushed, the third act of the movie. So those are my minuses on it. It's the story's the same as it's always been, and the characters are you've seen all of this before, so nothing new here to the table. It's very by the numbers, cut and paste. But I still enjoyed it. I can't lie. I was watching this movie and I was laughing. And when there was explosions and kicks and punches, I was in it. And that goes a long way for me. Like, if a movie can hold my attention, it's already won some things in my book. Now, was it some, super interesting thing? Not necessarily, but it was definitely a good time. And maybe that's what their mission was in making this movie. Just give people a good time, give people some laughs, blow some things up, look really cool doing it, because all of the characters looked really cool doing it. So yeah, if that's what the mission of this movie was, then mission accomplished. One of the complaints I also have about this movie is the female characters. In this day and age in Hollywood, I do honestly feel like Hollywood is very concerned with empowering female characters, which is great. It's a great concern to have. And, I do applaud Hollywood for shifting their focus and trying to empower women in their movies. That's great. But what Hollywood's been doing lately is they've been leaning a little too heavy into it, right? They are making these female characters it's just like a little too much. It's super 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 in the other direction. And I'm sure you can think of a number of examples where this has happened. But in this movie, they kind of failed in empowering these female characters. Like Gal Gadot's character is supposedly a, I'm not going to spoil anything, but a powerful person in that universe. And yet she just doesn't seem to, she's just there, She does a few things and that's it. There's also a female Interpol agent, like she's a law enforcement figure, and she seemed pretty underwhelming as well. There was nothing captivating about her, and she was somebody who was driven to go on this crusade in this movie, and yet we don't know why she's that driven. We don't have any background. She's just a hard-nosed Interpol agent. So where Hollywood has been very heavy-handed in empowering females, in this movie, it didn't seem like they were all that concerned with empowering them. So a step back, kind of. Nevertheless, despite its shortcomings, I have to say, Red Notice was a good time. I'd say still give it a watch, definitely. This is not a boring film by any stretch of the imagination. The characters were fun, especially Ryan Reynolds, of course, always saying the right joke at the right time. But it's by the numbers. It's definitely by the numbers. So watch Red Notice. I'd say it is a watch. It's fun. It's exciting. It's beautiful. It's a good way to pass a boring Saturday afternoon if you need to pass one. All right, so that's Red Notice. Watch it. Go ahead. I did like it, but I'm not in love with it. All right, guys. So that's our Movie Monday. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a pretty short episode. Sometimes that's what happens with my podcast. Some run a little long, some run a little short. And this week, I do have a pretty epically long one for you. So I guess we're just trying to offset that a little bit with this episode. Watch Red Notice, guys. It's fun. All right, guys. See you tomorrow for TV Tuesdays.